Hey, what's up guys? So this is a follow-up video of Poco C65 which I have been using for a week now. Today I'll be telling you my thoughts about this device. Is it a good device for that price range or not? And we'll talk about its pros and cons, and this device is suitable for whom. So all those things we'll be discussing in this video. So first of all, let's talk about the design. So the design is pretty and it looks good actually, although it's fully plastic, but it does look good. One thing about this device is that it's a really big device, it's massive device, and the display here actually is 6.74-inch 720p display. But for 720p display, the display is pretty huge. But as far as I can see, if you look from far, it doesn't look that bad. And for the protection, they are using some sort of Gorilla Glass, but they did not mention that which kind of Gorilla Glass they are using. Maybe Gorilla Glass 2 or 3 they are using. As for display, the bezels are not very that big. It looks good, and for 720p display, it does look pretty good actually. And also you are getting 90 Hz refresh rate, so that's also pretty good for this device. So in terms of display, it's really good, but there are few issues with this display actually. First of all, if you dim the display pretty low, there is a flicker on the display. Maybe you can see that there is flicker. Let me reduce a little bit. It is pretty noticeable when you are in dark, and you can see that the display is flickering. So that is one issue I have seen on this display. And another is that it has pretty bad touch response time. So if you are planning to game on this device, it's not going to be that great. So I'll be coming to gaming section later on. I will talk about those kind of thing later on too. And the display brightness, it goes up to 600 nits. It's not really that bright, but certainly for the price, it's pretty good actually, not really bad for the price. I have no complaint about display, although as I said, touch response, and there is an issue with when you reduce the brightness to lower level, so the display blink a little. So those things are pretty negligible because of the price. So in terms of display, it's a pretty good device. Going with other things, it got Wi-Fi, it got Bluetooth 5.0, dual band Wi-Fi support, it got 4G LTE support. So my SIM card is there. I have been using this device for a week. As I said, I did take phone call and other things. Everything went very well, although the quality of the speakers are not really that great, but the phone call quality was really good. And also one of the thing about this device which doesn't come in this price is that it got NFC. So the NFC is there. If you use NFC, you can use NFC on this device. For the price, it's quite surprising that Xiaomi add this feature to this device. So NFC is there too. Rather than that, going with other things. So now when this device actually released back in 2023, it came with Android 13, but recently it got updated to HyperOS. So and also it got Android 14, but I think it will get Android 15 too. I'm not really sure. But one thing about this HyperOS that it's not really HyperOS. I think it's just MIUI 14, just they put Xiaomi HyperOS, because you are not getting any HyperOS feature on this device. First of all, we don't have any kind of control panel here. So there is basic notification panel, and as you can see, there is no interconnectivity settings or anything like that. There is no feature at all. There are some features in animation and other things. Rather than that, you are not getting any feature of HyperOS on this device with this build. Maybe in future they will include, but as far as I can see, there is nothing like that. So my device is actually 6GB 128GB variant, and it kind of working flawlessly for me. No issue with that. Going with the battery, it got 5000 mAh battery, which is really good actually. The battery backup is really good. Basically, for even I have turned on the 90 Hz, still it managed to give me 6 hours or plus screen on time. So it's pretty good battery backup from this device. Let's talk about the camera. We always want a good camera in really cheap price. This device got 50 megapixel camera and two of the cameras for emotional supports, both of them pretty useless. So the main camera here is actually pretty good for the price you are paying. So it's a 50 megapixel Sony sensor, and here is a camera application. there are few features missing from this camera application. First of all, the video recording here is actually 1080p 30 fps. We do have portrait, we do have night mode, and also we can take picture in 50 megapixel, but we don't really have any kind of manual mode here. So manual mode is missing, and you can take macro photos too, so you can toggle here, and we do have macro option here. So if you want to take macro photo, you can do that too. It's pretty useless, but it is there actually. So if you really want to take pictures, you can take with macro camera too, and also you can shoot videos with macro camera up to 720p. So that's also available. So talking about the camera, the front camera is 8 megapixel here, which does works perfectly fine, and also it can shoot up to 1080p 30 fps. So for the price, front camera is pretty good and it takes really good pictures. So for the selfie, you're not going to complain. But I did install a Gcam here. So the Gcam here is working perfectly fine, and I will put the link of this Gcam in the description below if anyone wants to try on their phone C65 or Redmi 13C. So in the camera, as you can see, the camera is working perfectly fine, but as you can see, it is not really that smooth actually, but it does work perfectly fine. You can take picture, but you should not hit the 0.5 here because we don't really have any ultra wide camera. So if you hit 0.5, the camera will crash and you have to force close the camera to use the camera again. Rather than that, we got portrait mode, we got action and other things. So there are a lot of things going on with the camera, and every function's working perfectly fine, no issue with that. So everything is working, night mode, picture, photo and video, everything is working perfectly fine. And as I said, the main camera doesn't come with any kind of manual mode, but Gcam does come with manual mode. So if you click here, as you can see, we can tweak exposure setting, white balance, focus, shutter speed and ISO. So you can tweak those things. If you want manual camera mode on your C65, you can use Gcam and you will get the manual camera. So I did take picture and videos with this device, and both turns out pretty good. For the price you are paying for this device, the camera is actually much better than I expected. Now let's talk about the gaming. This is not really a gaming phone, but if one really want to play some games, you can do that. But as I said, there is issue with touch response. So if you play Call of Duty, PUBG Mobile, Free Fire, this type of games, you're going to notice that issue actually. For Subway Surfer, Temple Run and other games, you will not feel that actually. Those games does work perfectly fine. So if you want to play games on this device, you can still play, and I will put the resolution of this in the video so that you can check out which fps or which graphics quality you can play these games. I will put them there so you can check them. But the gaming experience not going to be great on this device. Helio G85 is a really good processor, but for this gaming part, I don't think it can handle that much. But still, it is pretty much playable actually. But as I said, that for the touch response, you're not going to enjoy the gaming. So that's all about the gaming part. Now going with other things, there are few things I have to mention. First of all, as you can see, there are a lot of application and there are a lot of bloatware. The main issue with this bloatware is that you cannot uninstall or cannot disable them. So as you can see, we have Google's application, which I don't really use actually, like Google TV, Google One, Meet. These things we don't really use. But if I want to uninstall or disable them, I cannot actually. As you can see, I can uninstall the update, but I cannot uninstall the whole app. So that's a pretty big issue. And there are few other applications here which I can't really do anything. One good thing about this application is that we are getting Poco phone dialer here, which is really good if you do call recording, because other party will not know that you are recording. So in that case, it's really good. We are not getting any Google dialer here. The Poco dialer is here, so it could be handy for some users. Rather than that, also in the gallery section, if you go, there are few things like if you edit pictures or anything like that, there are few features actually missing. Like uh, you used to get few like changing the color of the sky and other things. Those things are not available on this device for some reason. So as you can see here, we don't have those things. So there are a lot of features missing from this device, but for the price you are paying, I think it's pretty good deal. So other things like we do have fingerprint here, which is really fast and works flawlessly. So as you can see here, flawlessly, and the buttons are really good actually. They are also plastic build, but they work perfectly fine. And the face unlock is there, but it is not really that fast, but pretty workable and works flawlessly. No issue with that too. So in terms of price, I paid about $75 for this 6GB 128GB variant. For the price I paid, I am pretty satisfied with this device. And also the SIM tray here is actually, you can put dual SIM and micro SD card together, so that's a pretty good actually. Usually you get hybrid SIM slot, but on this device you are getting two SIM and micro SD card. You can use all of them together. So pretty good device actually for the price. I don't really know you will get any other device at that price, like for $75 with 128GB, which will run this smooth or perform this well. I don't really know. But if you don't like Poco, you can go with Redmi too. There is a device called Redmi 13C, which is also same device, but that is a Redmi device, so the UI will be a little bit different than Poco, but both of them actually similar kind of device. For the price you are paying for this device, actually it's a really good device. It works flawlessly. I have no complaint. Camera works flawlessly. Gaming performance not going to be that great, but for the price you are paying, it's going to be good. For the build quality, it's fully plastic build, but I'm not seeing anything bad about the design. It's really good design. So that's all about Poco C65. If you have like low budget, I think you can go with this device. It's a pretty good device for the price you will pay. So that's all about Poco C65. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.